Welcome back, folks, to the Get a Grip on Lighting podcast. On today's show, we have our first lighting designer, and she is super interesting. She's out of Arkansas, Kansas. Her name is Melissa Stickford, and we had a lot of fun, and we came to the conclusion that lighting is a superpower. Greg?
Yeah, good. First of all, Arkansas, Kansas is not a place. Maybe it is, but it's Arkansas is where she's from. He said
Arkansas?
Arkansas, same place. They're close enough. But yeah, a great discussion with her. She shared some of her own personal stories on how lighting has affected her life,
Mm.
which was interesting. And then also just her opinion on where things are at. And she's passionate about it, like we are. So great guest to have on.
And she's a big fan of the show, and I know she listens to the podcast. She has a little bottle of wine while she's listening to it, has a good time. So Melissa, thanks for being one of our big fans and listening and coming on the show. This episode of the show is sponsored by Keystone Technologies. Go to KEYSTONETECH.com, and if you're watching on YouTube or casting it to your TV or whatever you're doing, you got to check out the Sign Hero, Greg.
That's right. The title of our episode here is Lighting as a Superpower. And the Sign Hero is a superpower. It's a great LED product that you can use in signs that are single-sided or double-sided, currently fluorescent, easy fix. You bypass the ballast, you put the lamp in, it comes in all the sizes you need, 2 different Kelvin temperatures, and it's rotatable. Great product, cuts the energy in half and gives you the life that you expect out of LED and better even light. So do it up if you have a sign.
And a great segue into the National Association of Innovative Lighting Distributors conference coming up before this episode will probably be out after that. But I think Sign Hero won 2018 Product of the Year, didn't it?
It did, yeah. It was a great product, and it's won a number of awards now I've seen.
Yeah, it's a great product. So we love it. Thank you, Keystone, for coming out with Sign Hero. And of course, the National Association of Innovative Lighting Distributors. Go to naild.org. But for right now, we got Melissa Stickford on the Get a Grip on Lighting podcast. Welcome to the Get a Grip on Lighting podcast, Melissa.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Say hello to Greg Ehrich.
Well, hello, Greg. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for coming on, Melissa.
Thank you for having me.
So, Greg, Melissa's contacted you a couple times, and I'm going to let you open up the question period with Melissa. Why is she a guest on the Get a Grip on Lighting podcast?
Well, it started with an email you sent to our website, in response to some of the podcast in general, which we appreciate. So it was great to hear some feedback from you. So thank you, first of all, for that. And in your emails, you've got some passion about lighting, which,
Yes.
Michael and I feel we do too. And we wanted to kind of hear your story and where you're at in the lighting industry. So maybe give us a little background on what you've done in lighting.
Okay. Well, I fell in love with lighting, oh gosh, at a very, very young age. And I've been in the lighting and electrical business for a very long time. Let's just say I started when I was like 19 years old. I knew that I wanted to go to engineering school from like the 9th grade. Fast forward, we've worked for several engineers. And around 2000, that's when I stopped with the design work after I'd gone to engineering school. And I became a lighting rep and did that for about 16 years. I guess I got burned out. I was really disgusted. That was around 2015. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Where the lighting industry had gone. It was all about the money. And I was so upset that the word lamp and light was not to be used in this house. It was a cuss word. And so, but once it gets in your blood, you really can't get it out, And so I decided to open up my own design and work space and work for myself. I've done work all over the country at this point in time. But when it really started getting interesting is whenever my daughter had an ATV accident with my dad when she was in the 8th grade. And her senior year of high school, she was about to start, and she started getting these real intense migraines. Now, since, that accident, she had 11 skull fractures, and she got has always had a headache, but these were these intense so much that we had to go to the ER, and she was puking, and that's just not normal. When we went to our neurologist, they encouraged us to find out what her trigger was. And one night she was sitting up underneath one of those lamps, with the big arms, the modern looking things. And she's sitting in my office. We were all laughing and having a good time. And she's sitting up underneath that lamp, and I saw her face change. One side starts to droop, and her eyes, go every which way, and they turn purple underneath. Her trigger is light. And that's what we figured out. And the reason why she started having migraines really bad that year, she plays volleyball, and she was a setter. And so she was looking up at the light the whole time. And after every volleyball game, she had a migraine so bad that she couldn't go to school the next day. She missed so many days of school. As soon as volleyball season's over, everything changes. So God or whoever, universe, has blessed me with this child, and this passion. And, the more I started digging in, trying to find these answers, what was really going on? Why was this happening? And then the more I find out, there's so many people that are triggered by light and, this intensity. So yes, I have, and I couldn't find the answers that I was looking for. Why? Is it the color? Is it the intensity? I have my own theories. And so just now I'm starting to find my people. Y'all are part of my people here.
We're quite happy to be part of your people.
Well,
let me.
And I'm not saying there's just so many questions, and right now, and everything is changing so rapidly.
Yeah. So, is she triggered by sunlight at all?
Not so much sunlight, because she's not looking directly into the sun. But like going to concerts, and that's when it hits her dead on. I'm assuming in her eye, that's when it triggers a migraine, and she's not alone. There's many of people that have this happen to.
How long has from when she's playing volleyball does the migraine occur for her? Like, is it right away? Is it a couple hours later? How long does it take for the symptoms to occur from the exposure, say, of looking up into lights?
That's a great question. I don't know that I've asked her that. What she has one. I need to ask. I will have to ask. But I know, like, by the end of that night after that volleyball game, she was coming home and going straight to her room, because it's already set in within an hour after that volleyball game had started.
You know what?
Is it any
any
particular light source? Is it fluorescent, LED? It doesn't matter. It's just looking at any light.
That's the thing about it is I can't figure out what it is source wise. So the volleyball, that was metal halide. The lamp had one of those screw in 2700 Kelvin LEDs. Car lights, they hit her, and that she's been stricken, and stranded on the side of the road because. So all of these are different. And I asked her about fluorescence, because I had that same question, and she can see them turn on and off, and she's always been able to see that, always. And she said I just thought that's how the lights looked. So I find that really interesting.
So we're talking, obviously, I just want to tell everyone that we have 3 non-scientists here that sell lighting, but that are very curious as to some of these anecdotal instances they come across in their career, yours being very personal, Greg and I looking at it from a sales perspective. I've always been interested in the ideas around migraine headaches and light. And there's 2 things I notice. And that is one, it's a primarily female phenomenon. I don't ever hear about men who have issues with respect to lighting affecting their, causing headaches or affecting them in any way negative.
Mhm. I there are some. I don't know why you hear more females. Maybe it's because we're a little bit more vocal and mouthy. I don't know.
No, but I just in my personal experience, I know that it's that women are more prone to migraines, and they're also more prone to this sensitivity to light, and we don't know why. I also wonder if there is something to do with the flicker. Now, you had mentioned the hertz. That would be T12s that she could see the hertz on, Greg. Wouldn't you? Just from all our podcasts we've done, it would have to be T12s.
I asked the school; those were T8s. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So you're
Yeah,
you're quite upset. You're quite upset at the industry. Like there was some passion in your emails about the irresponsible manner in which this industry has plowed forward with new technology. Can you tell us a little bit about where you came to that level of, let's call it moral indignation, shall
this is getting very scandalous, isn't it now?
we?
Eric, gosh, okay. What I got to remember what it was that we were specifically talking about. Gosh, do you have that email? I can pull it back up.
Well, I
I
mean,
do. Yeah. You were just
It,
you shared your story a little with your daughter and just how people are just putting any light in without really factoring in quality or the right light. That's kind of
okay.
what you indicated.
Well, now I'm getting a little nervous here. I feel like there has been a lot of the people, and I'm not. It's just about price. What's the cheapest? What is, where can we cut funds? And there's, a lot of people don't, lighting is a superpower. It affects our moods. It affects our, think about the sunlight whenever, it's cloudy, or even going to Walmart. How do you feel when you go to Walmart? We have Walmarts down here. This is Arkansas. And you're running through there. It is bright. You got the sunshine. And I think they use the daylight 5067, 6000 K lamps in those stores. Then you go into another place like Dillard's or a high-end clothing store. And it's usually a little bit more dimmer. You're a little bit calmer. Going to dinner, a romantic one, the high-end places, the lighting is a little bit darker. It feels they want to keep you in there, spending some money, slow you down. That affects our moods, even. And so we've got a lot of people that don't know as much, are new to the industry and haven't taken the time to educate themselves fully. And we're just selling whatever our manufacturers are pushing us to sell. That day we got to get our numbers up, or I was a rep for a long time, and that's a lot of times that's what happens. But it should be more about what's the best for this application, and fully understanding that this is bigger than what we think it is. Does that answer your question a little bit?
Totally. Absolutely.
Okay.
And what's interesting from my perspective about what you're saying is that you don't really, what you're saying and what I'm hearing from you is, and you said that lighting is a superpower, okay, which is might be the title of this show, but
It is a title.
yes, we are creatures of the light, okay, and everything that we have, and we had Dr. Veach from the National Research Council of Canada come on our show. I don't know, maybe 20 episodes ago or whatever.
Yeah, I started listening to that one too.
Yeah, so we made the point that scientists, from a psychological perspective, from a perspective of anthropology, from a perspective of evolution, from a perspective of all the different sciences, from physics to biology and all this, they don't even really know what light is or what it does.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even really know. And that's fascinating to me. And there's so much ego and cockiness and
Yes.
with respect to like various institutions out there with telling people what they should do, or and actually inflating a bubble in the lighting industry, which is creating massive amounts of artificial change. So people have adopted LED faster than they normally would have because of rebates and incentive programs and recommendations and all this kind of stuff. And the reality is, at 5 years later, you don't have a GE, you have current by a GE, but a lot of these major players are leaving the business. They're exiting. They're changing the game. And so the reason why is because the industry has drastically changed, and we don't know what we've left behind in the last 6 years of LED upgrades. Like, have we hurt people with these new lights? Is the flicker problems going to end up being worse than we thought? And now, Greg, we have people talking about installing lighting systems that are going to be healthier, or generate productivity gains. And from my perspective, I would say, why don't we start off with not doing any harm? And after we can confirm that our lights don't hurt anybody, then we can talk about possible productivity gains. Am I crazy over here, Greg, Ehrich, or what?
Not at all. No, it's something we've talked about, and that's also what you indicated in your email too, is just that there's so much of this going on, people making claims that don't have any backing. And it's out there, and what are we supposed to do with it, and how do we educate the end user really not to listen to those because they aren't substantiated? There isn't anything behind it other than somebody making it and saying, hey, buy my stuff because it'll make you healthier.
Well, and yeah, and that's why another reason why I am such a big fan of y'all's show is because y'all are actually getting out there and educating the people. We got to get people to listen, and ask these questions. There's Facebook groups, there's all this and that, and the blue light. I call it the blue light bullshit because it just needs to stop. There's been blue light for a long time. Come on, people. It is not the blue light. And you can make that claim all you want. I'm not saying that it's, there is bigger things. There's something bigger that's going on. People they do not know. I put on my LinkedIn thing that I'm a human-centric expert. Well, guess what? I don't know any more than you do. I pick everybody as an expert because they don't know. There's not a, don't know.
Well, I'll tell you
this. It changes every
time. I'll tell you this, Melissa. There isn't a scientist in the world that knows what light actually is. They don't know what it is. And it's this is on the show with Dr. Veach. I made the point that this is like the fish figuring out that we are in the water. That's where we're at with light. And in terms of, okay, we can generate it. Yeah, we can, we're no different than, a tribe of Neanderthals running around with sticks of fire going, ooh, 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 ooh. It really is, okay, so it's more efficient. But tell me what light is. Tell me what it is. Tell me what it is. It travels across the universe at, 300,000 kilometers a second, and it makes plants grow on Earth. And when you go in it, you create vitamin D in your body. When you go outside and you feel better, your body gets out into sunlight, and all of a sudden your body releases all these endorphins and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, make sure you put on that sunscreen and sunglasses, because if you don't, that sun that's the giver of life to the world is going to hurt you. Like, none of this stuff makes any sense to me. In one sense, they're telling me that when you go outside, make sure you put on your sunscreen and your sunglasses because that damn sun's going to hurt you. But we want to recreate that indoors so that people can get the effects of the sun inside. It's like, which one is it, man? And not only that, though, but how dare you be so egotistical and ridiculous as to think that you even know what's right or wrong when it comes to the health effects of lighting. Get out of my way. This is ridiculous. Sorry, I'm just hot about that. It bothers me immensely. that people could be so
Well,
egotistical.
yeah, right. And okay, so I don't know about y'all, but down here they got these lighting studies, and everybody wants the rebate money. And I know that y'all are big time into the tube, but we use that down here just because we're trying to save energy and help with payback on the HVAC systems. And all of it, I don't know. It's not good for me.
Do you feel, we've talked about a number of different technologies. Do you feel that LED lights as a whole are harmful, or they can be? What is your opinion on that?
I think that they can be. I think what I think right now is that we're overlighting spaces. Period. It's just too bright. And when it comes to with LEDs in particular, they've got those point sources and they're clary. Anybody can see the 100 dots that when you look at a fixture after looking away, they're too bright. Why do we need that much light anyway?
I think it's so obvious.
Glare,
I think your point is so obvious. It's so obvious when it comes to the headlights on cars. When you're driving and someone comes up behind you with those really bright LED headlights, it is awful, man. Or when they're coming at you on a dark road with no street lighting, and they come at you, let's say it's like a truck and they have the LED lights, there is a lot of harsh glare, and I'm going to use this word, hitting you. It hits you in a way from that lighting. So, I think that, so one of the reasons, Greg, why I think our show is successful and why, is because we've always come at it, even though we talk tough sometimes, we've come at it with a sense of curiosity and humility. And a lot of people in this business are coming at it from a sense of hubris and ego, that you think you know what you're doing. And I don't think actually anybody knows. And
no.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, and there's just too much ego in this business right now, and I think that's why a lot of the great companies that were in this business have taken a second look at it and says, I can't be in that ego space right now because I want to be honest about what we're doing, and I'm not willing to put out a technology that I'm not sure about or that I haven't done my research on, and then other companies come and fill that void. And the only reason that void exists, Greg, Ehrich, and Melissa Stickford, is because of rebate programs and accreditation agencies, which are slapping their dirty sticker on everything that comes across and has the right paperwork. And I don't think it's good.
I agree with you 100%.
Greg, do you agree with me 100%?
Mostly. I don't know about 100%. I think we need somebody to kind of make sure that quality products getting out there.
Yeah,
maybe not quite 100.
But you know what? I mean, like, then the idea.
I mean, look at all packs and these. They're ugly, and the street lights that are the night watchers that we see everywhere these days that they're coming. They're horrible. I don't know who told them that they look good, but they were lying.
I'll tell you this: when it all started in the beginning of this, say 2014 or 15, if you had one building that was surrounded by buildings that had HPS, okay, and you changed their wall packs to 50K LED, it looked great. But now that you drive through a city like Toronto and every building has these 50K, not dark sky compliant wall packs, it's like a nasty white light glare bomb everywhere you go. I don't know, Greggy. I want to get Greggy's thought on that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you. I think there is a lot of overlit areas and areas that aren't putting the right light. So from a lighting design standpoint, Melissa, maybe going back to you as a lighting design background, Mike and I don't have that. We might act like we do, and we put together systems all the time, but we're not officially lighting designers. You are, or have that background. What is the right way to light a space? I know it all depends, but what are some general things you look at when you're looking to light a space as a designer?
Well, you got to look at your space first to begin with, and figure out what it is you're wanting to accomplish, where you want the light, what does the end user want. And, when we design, we design with layers of light. It's not just, sticking a fixture up there and hoping for the best. Where does it need to go? If it needs to be on the wall, let's put it on the wall. Make sure it's aimed that way. You know, as for exterior lighting, we don't need light coming up here. Why do we need it shining into the sky unless we're shining on a facade or a flagpole? We need to put it down because or on the verticals, so people can actually see. And there's a lot of times people are just putting the wrong fixtures, using the right optics, your top 3s, top 5s, if that's what, makes sense for that application.
Do you feel with the advance of LED lighting that the art of lighting design is lost?
Oh, no. Well, no, it has nothing to do with LEDs. I think LEDs are pretty cool, especially when it comes to, fixtures. I mean, we're getting to make them smaller. It's a lighting designer's job. When they do a good job, no one notices the lighting. It's everything else in the space because you're lighting the architecture. You're controlling that eye. Where do we want them to look or where do we not want them to look? That's what we do. We're a bunch of control freaks. And then, gotta make sure the control works with it or the whole system's jacked up. But no, I think LEDs has done it's kind of, have y'all seen some of those pictures they got these days? They're wicked.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know?
Yeah, definitely.
And then you don't notice it. So there's really good aspects. I just think that there's a lot of negativity too, and people don't know, like what y'all were saying. And it's up to us, ourselves and other people. And that's one thing I've been wanting to do. It's about responsible design for me, figuring out what is helping and what's hurting other people. And go ahead.
Yeah, I think that the biggest problem, at least from what Mike and I do, is we do spaces that are already existing. So we're often looking at the lighting that's already there that might not be lit correctly to begin with and retrofitting it to something more efficient, not really caring about the quality. I'm not saying we do that, but I think in general, that's what I see in lighting.
Right.
And I think the lighting design aspect of a lot of this is lost. And I think how do you get that back into the mix? I don't know. Is it redesigning every space you go into? It's a big undertaking.
That ain't hard. I mean, it just ain't. I mean, you can't squeeze blood out of a turnip and make somebody, give up more money. But how do we do it? I think we've got to start educating the public with stuff that is real and relevant and what that is. Just, I don't know about y'all. Whenever y'all start talking about lighting, do people's eyes just kind of glaze over?
Depends who. You.
Y'all are just more interested than I am.
If I start talking to someone about their factory lighting, I can get them, or their warehouse or their office, I can get them pretty excited about it actually, and the savings involved in it. But I think in terms of from a lighting design perspective, so lighting designers are like the what's the word? What's the way to describe them? They're like the magic makers or something. There's something to the art of, like, I wouldn't want, if someone came to me and said, hey, Colligan, hey, can you come and design the lighting for my restaurant, the new restaurant I'm building? I would go, whoa, dude, I'm not into that, bro. No. You need to call Melissa Stickford. She's down in Arkansas. No, but I mean, from my perspective, I mean, the art of lighting design, I think, is enhanced with LED technology, significantly enhanced. There's so much more possibilities that you can do now with LEDs, the size and strips and all the sorts of things, especially architecture, all areas. But from the problem is with that 90%, maybe 95% of lighting applications are not designed.
Mm-hmm. Or they're designed by a salesperson. Or do you even know
Like
who
me.
they're designed?
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
for a number of years, and guess what? A lot of them today are designed by the rep, who then sends it to someone like me, or and no one even knows. But that's a free service that the industry and reps offer these days, and so there's a lot of people like me that are starving, and and it's sad. It's kind of a little bit backwards, isn't it now?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I think what lighting designers do is they make lighting is actually at the heart of interior design. The number one thing in interior design is lighting. There's nothing secondary to it. Lighting is the most important part of it. And lighting affects all colors. It affects the way the contrast versus brightness. What you're talking about, how you light up a space, is very key to how people will use a space and how they'll feel in the space. So lighting design is something that I think is an art as well, that the technology allows people to have a broader palette, say, in the art. But I think I think what's happening in what you're anecdotally experiencing, you're like a concerned citizen with a high degree of lighting knowledge who's saying something's wrong here. And the reason why the three of us came together is because we don't know the answer, but when people listen to us talk, they legitimately know that we're curious to find out and that we're open and willing to listen to others. And I think that's why this show is successful. And I think that's why lighting designers are so important. But I don't know if this problem's going to be solved anytime soon, Greg. And in fact, I think it's probably going to get worse before it gets better when it comes to, I just see more hubris, Greg, and more cockiness in the industry. I don't see any humility.
Yeah, I mean, everything you read about still is a human-centric lighting and the things that come out, but we don't know. I mean, how many articles can we write and talk about when at the end of the day, nobody knows anything? It's
Well, look,
all BS.
no,
as we talked
here's
about.
what we do know.
We're learning. Yeah.
Dr. Figueroa, Dr. Venkat, and Dr. Veach, who are real scientists, okay? They're not, people that work for a lighting company or anything. They're just scientists. And all of them said, well, we really don't know that much.
Yeah.
And it's like, but then you have these lighting organizations that are like, yeah, the health effects of lighting, we're going to improve productivity and all this sort of stuff. And it's like, well, the scientists over here are saying that that's not true, that you can't do that. And they don't even know what it is. So how is it that you guys know? What is it that you know that everybody else doesn't know yet? And that's where I kind of get a little bit like, let's get out of the hubris here. Are you making up something? Are you trying to solve a problem that you don't know how to solve? You're willing to roll the dice and take a risk and hope for the best because you need to continue to exist? I mean, because oh, no, we can solve this health effects problem. The industry can solve it. Yeah, the industry can solve it. Really? The people that are staked in selling this can solve it? I think that's a little bit of a conflict of interest right there. And you're going to slap a tag on this stuff that says it's all good for people's health? That sounds like a real big problem to me, Greg Ehrich and Melissa Stickford.
We know that it does affect, like, I'm not saying like our health, those diabetes and all of that. Come on. I really think it's in our food system, and there's a whole bunch of other things. It's that blue lights. I need to just shush for a minute.
Okay.
No, you're good.
Wrong claims. I mean, something else is going on. It's not light. How dare that they put that on our industry? And we think about this too. How many did y'all go to college?
Yep.
In electrical engineering, they are the people that specify and are responsible for the lighting, unless there's a designer on that set of plans, correct? Okay. Yeah. We didn't learn anything about lighting when I went to school.
There's no lighting engineers. There's no such thing as a lighting engineer. It doesn't exist.
And then there's I think there's 2 classes in the architecture program. Then there's one class in the interior designer program, maybe two. That's the education
And
of the majority of, and to your point, nobody really knows. They don't know. And what we do know is that when you go to Walmart, you're hurrying up and getting out of there. We do know that it does something. You're sitting there longer at the other place where you're having your cocktails and they're going to slowly dim those lights down. We know it has an effect. We know that but we don't know what we're doing with it.
so in all these shows and all these
Mhm.
shows, Melissa, and everything I've been looking at with this, I've come to this point. I think there's something to the color of fire and candlelight at night that is extremely attractive and calming and warming and makes you feel safe. That low temperature light, that there's something attractive to that is fundamental to human anthropology. And I think that's going to emerge. That's just I'm a light bulb peddler. That's my opinion. But I think there's something to the color of that low Kelvin temperature lighting at nighttime that is fundamental to human relaxation, to human low stress, to wanting to go to sleep, to feeling safe. I think there's something to that color, and that's why restaurants all want low Kelvin temperature. They know it in their veins, and why casinos don't. Why casinos are basically circadian rhythm disrupting machines, where they knew this in the 50s, that if you shine white bright light into a human's eyes, he'll give you his paycheck. Okay, so there's there's something to that color temperature at night that like good lighting designers are onto and restaurants want, and they want that, be able to dim that light real low, and it goes warmer and warmer the more you dim it. And humans just love that. They feel relaxed. They want to be there. They want to stay there close to the fire. They want to be close to the fire, right? So that's my prediction, that all these scientists are going to say, that bastard on the Get a Grip on Lighting podcast, he was right about that low Kelvin temperature at night. And now we have all the data to prove it. That's my gut instinct. Melissa Stickford, thanks for being a guest on the Get a Grip on Lighting podcast. Keystone Technologies with Sign Hero. All you got to do is Google Sign Hero Keystone and it will come up, Greg. That Sign Hero has got to be one of the meanest, baddest retrofit products in the market today.
Yeah, great innovative product. You bypass the ballast. If you have a sign with fluorescent tubes, you put it right in place. It comes in all the sizes you need, a couple Kelvin temperatures, cuts the energy in half, gives you better lighting. What more can you ask for in a lighting retrofit? This is the one if you have a fluorescent sign.
Yeah, it's a great product, and you know what? Great. Signs are one of those places where a lot of people don't think about. So if you're doing lighting projects out there, get those signs going with Sign Hero. Go to KEYSTONETECH.com or just Google Sign Hero, and it will come up. Greggy, the National Association of Innovative Lighting Distributors. What are you thinking about those guys, huh?
Having a great time. This is getting released on April 8th, and we're going to be there next week. So when you hear this, we're only a week away from being at the NAILD convention, and great organization to be a part of. We're going to have some awesome discussions there in person, as we always do, and learn. That's what lighting's all about, or staying in lighting and learning from people that know it, and NAILD knows it better than anybody.
It's funny because, you know what? The NAILD members are in the trenches. They're the guys that are in the streets of lighting. They're doing things with the end users that are buying the lamps and installing them in their facilities. So if that sounds a little bit like you got the last minute chance to fly out to Reno and hang out with us. We're going to be recording podcasts. We're going to be listening to great speakers. We're going to be having all sorts of fun. So if you have time, if you have a chance, come on out to Reno and check us out. And of course, thank you, Melissa Stickford, for coming on the show. Honestly, Greg, I don't say this a lot, but that was a fun podcast, man.
Yeah, just from her initial email to us, it was a lot of fun reading that and responding to it, and then actually getting to talk to her in person was great, and she fits in well with us, I think. So nice to have her on.
Yeah, she's it was a different kind of style of show for us. So thank you, Melissa, for coming on the show. We really appreciate you listening to us and for being a guest. And to all you guys out there that listen to the Get a Grip on Lighting podcast, we're very grateful and thank you for that. And to our sponsors, thanks for listening. Thanks for participating. Check us out on social media. Bye for now.
Written on the rectory wall, there's a sign there for all. If you are lost, the Lord is there to find you.